Hi, my name's Mando, and weapons are a part of my religion. Sometimes we use training blasters that fire foam projectiles, and today I wanted to give a little update on the double punch and the Doom Cannon. Setting aside the Doom Cannon for now, let's take a look at what we've done with the double punch. So far, we've been able to get a 9-volt mod into the back of this thing, and while I haven't been able to get it flush in completely enough to put the battery tray back on, the godfather of 6-pack 9-volt mods, Maritime Foam, assures me that it can be done. And if he says it can be done, it can be done. So I'm going to get it in there. In the meanwhile, I do have it hooked up, and it's certainly given us a nice performance boost. I mean, still a little slow to rev up, but that's certainly spinning a lot faster than it was on 6-volt. It'd be really nice if Hasbro, caught up with the times with things like Adventure Force Spectrums on the field all the time. I feel like 9-volt really should be the new standard for a basic kid's toy that you're going to go see out in the park and games. In the meanwhile, we've also managed to chop this thing down and remove the articulating barrels. We've been nicknaming it the bare knuckle since, and when I took off the barrels, it was really nice. They came off really easily. The articulating arms just attached to the barrels with a single screw each. They popped off. It all went back together pretty clean. And I was thinking about removing the arms themselves to help with the drag on the trigger pull, but the way they're all hooked up in there, they're all parallel and everything runs all nice and it keeps those pushers running straight, so I thought I'd leave them be. And then when I was looking at them, I realized they'd be perfect for mounting LEDs. So I thought maybe we'd try that. So I'm going to open this thing back up. We're going to put LEDs on it, and we're going to do a paint job, and maybe give it a new nickname. We'll see what happens. In the meanwhile, let's take a few shots downrange. So feeling pretty happy about that. Obviously we like this thing stock at 6-volt, but at 9 it's even better. Looking forward to trying this thing out in some games, and in the meanwhile moving on to the Doom Cannon. So the story behind this, way back in the day, my very first, let's call it back of the trunk bin loot grab, a friend of mine sold me a whole bunch of stuff, and when he did that, he threw this one in for free, and he said, you should do something cool with this. And all he really mentioned as for what was, he said, it'd be cool if you chopped it down. So I sat on it for a little while and eventually opened it up and had a look, determined where I wanted the cut points, and I chopped it down, and from there that was done. And literally the next day, one of our founding club members was over, and he was telling me that his father, who unfortunately is no longer with us, had picked up one of these. It started as a Rival Zeus, and he was missing both the magazine and the battery door. So it seemed like it was meant to be. I had already cut mine up, so I gave him those parts, and that was a nice thing to do. And in the meanwhile, I still had a blaster to build with this. I was really feeling inspired looking at the shape of the shell by the video game series Fallout, and in those games you can upgrade your guns, not blasters, mind you, it's a video game. You can upgrade your guns, and when you do it, a lot of them are really janky looking, like stuff's just been patched on or taped on or even tied on with cloth. So I really wanted to make this a bit janky and think outside the box, both literally and figuratively. I knew we had lots of room for battery up here, but I knew I wanted external batteries, and we had these rails, so I decided I'd put one on each side, and I wanted exposed wiring and everything. So we've got a 6-volt Nimitz battery pack in each side, wired in parallel into the battery door and going into the motors there. And then as far as the ammo clip, I could have put some sort of clasp to hold that in, but again, I wanted this to be outside the box and janky, so I thought, how about a slingshot? Found a couple of nylon rope cleats, hooked up some bungee, and cut a piece of leather. Obviously reloading this thing is gonna not be the easiest, but at the end of the day, it's doable. I'm not saying this is gonna be game practical. It's more for fun. It actually scares me a little. and I kind of want to get this thing filmed before it blows up. So let's take this to the range and see how it does. So yeah, pretty happy with that accuracy. My wooden clothespin iron sights obviously is working for me, and it didn't blow up, so that's a plus. One thing I did do with the build of this is I deliberately left the top empty for a future project. And while discussing possibilities with Jexstar Foam, our club cohort over here, our local thrift correspondent, he came up with an idea that I think is the best one of all, and I'd like to know what you guys think in the comments down below. How about on the top of the Doom Cannon, a Maritime Foam Mega XL Gauntlet? How cool would that be? Let me know what you think down below. That's all for today, folks. Thank you for watching. As always, this is FoaMando signing off. Good hunting. Foam is the way.